Hello, great ones. Welcome to the Live and Be Great podcast. I'm your host, Latanya Sampson McDonald. I am a life coach and a registered marriage and family therapist associate. And this podcast was created to motivate, educate, and inspire all to live and be great. On today's episode, I wanted to talk about healing and boundaries during the holidays. This particular episode might be kind of short. It might be kind of long. I really don't have any idea where it is going to take me. All right? But I promise you, we'll get something out of it. You will. You will. So where do I want to start? So there's a lot of people that have started the healing process this year, some last year, some, years in the game or whatnot. But for the ones who this particular area, it's new for you, I want to offer you some encouragement and some insight, right? So when it comes to creating those boundaries, and a lot of our trauma stems from our families. And triggers around this time, holiday time, can be for a lot of people at an all-time high, because I don't think there's anybody on the face of the earth that doesn't want that picture perfect family to be their reality, right? If everybody just act right, and heal and be honest, like, oh, I could have the perfect family, especially all the Christmas movies you're going to be watching, all the, social media posts you're going to see and things of that nature. You sort of don't, if you haven't started your healing journey, you really don't know to say, hey, this matter, that doesn't mean that this family is perfect. A lot of times that's not what comes to mind. You're just like, oh, this is a beautiful picture. And if you haven't taken any pictures, you're like, I want to take one too. Or whatever you may think. You may not be thinking that, depending on the type of person that you are. But the reality of this healing process is, my goodness, there's a grieving aspect that is a part of it when you feel like you're the only one doing the part to heal. And when you get up the nerve and you get up the strength to set those boundaries with friends and families, these times can be difficult. And I have to be honest with you, like the pandemic, I know we were all like missing our families, those who did practice social distancing, but it was actually the most peaceful Christmas I had last year. Like, I hate to say it, but it was. And what we did was we got on Zoom. It was my idea to get on Zoom all together, everybody where they were at, the immediate family and their children and their spouses, and play games and just fellowship with each other, which I had fun. There was no stress of what are you going to get this person, that person for Christmas? Well, special for me because I don't have no kids. So I don't have to worry about that. And my nieces and nephews, I'm not the best at gift giving because my love language is quality time. And if I do give a gift, it has to be sentimental. So I'm not the type, I'll go ahead and say it, I'm not the type that will go and mail gifts off to people. I just, ugh, that's never been me. My whole thing has always been quality time and words of affirmation. Not saying I'm the best at that too now, but I much rather give that, especially I think my nieces and nephews get whatever they want. They do. They have these long, extravagant lists and things of that nature. And I'll get into more of that on the Patreon when talking about like um, children and what parents do as far as what happens on birthdays and things of that nature. I'll talk more on the Patreon. But um, again, it wasn't as stressful as, planning trips, booking flights and all of that, where you gonna sleep and if you gotta get a hotel room, and I didn't have to worry about that, right? For Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I would say for those of you who are planning on staying home and not traveling, whether it's because you can't afford it or because you set a boundary and things aren't really that good with your family based off of your healing process, I would say enjoy this time. I would say try your hardest not to feel guilty about it, because what is the purpose of spending time with people when things aren't being addressed, when the year has probably been hard for you already, based on whatever happened for you, good or bad? What is the purpose of sending, not, what is the purpose of spending time and money to be miserable, right? What is the purpose of spending time and money to pretend like everything is okay? And there's a lot, y'all. If if you set that boundary, please understand there are a lot of families doing that right now. The keeping up with the Joneses syndrome that I talked about um, on this podcast. The let's perform the part and not actually be the part. I know it is difficult, okay? It is difficult at first to shift from pretending to being authentic. It is, but I promise you, it is so worth it in the end if you can just acknowledge the peace that you feel. Now, when it comes to acknowledging the peace, yes, you are going to have to give yourself some pep talks. You're going to have to be open to pep talks from the people who you do feel comfortable around, that are in your life, that do make you feel safe, be it friends, co-workers, um, family members, your spouse, kids, uh, your therapist, your life coach, wherever you feel safe you are. I want to encourage you to talk about it and talk about this space and what it feels like, to sort of help, boost that confidence in your decision, because we can feel guilty when we decide to set a boundary, especially if it seems like we're the only one in the family that's willing to set a boundary and protect themselves and want better for everyone. There is nothing wrong with wanting to receive what you put out. And I'm not talking about materialistic things. I'm talking about the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual, the overall good intentions for people. There is nothing wrong, and I don't care who it's from. It could it could be your kid, it could be a parent, it can be aunt, uncle, ex-friend, whoever, right? there's nothing wrong with making sure that you're safe all around at the end of the day. And the thing about that is, why would people change? Why would people come correct in your space when they approach you if you allow everything to happen and you don't set that boundary? Right? Why would they? What is the purpose? So if you do not set that boundary, then you have to be accountable for that, because you teach people how to treat you. And just because you may have let certain things slide in the past doesn't mean with this new healed version of you, or this new, I would just say new version of you, because you're constantly healing. It's a never ending process. But for this new version of you that respects yourself and wants more, there is nothing wrong with holding people to a new standard. Yes, the holidays, the flash of it, seeing families laughing and singing songs and giving presents, that's all beautiful when you all. Like when it's genuine and it's not forced, and it's not a thing where you come in, you perform the happiness when you're not really happy. All right? And no, we can't give false promises that one day you'll get there. Those people may stay the same. Regardless, they may, right? But end of the day, you're going to be here. You will. Yes, you're going to grieve what you've, I would say, you've always wanted. Like I said in the beginning, I mean, heck yeah, I would want, to be super close to my family. We all like super close, and everybody respect and support and protect each other. I would love that, right? But sometimes that's not always the case, and sometimes you have to just create new traditions and like really appreciate and create your own peace, your own sort of family mechanism, whatever that looks like. And it doesn't have to look like this textbook fairy tale. It doesn't. It can be what you make it. Okay? It can. It really, really can. So if you have support, right, do something different. If you say, okay, well, I've always felt more comfortable with friends, family, right there. Go over there. I know you're going to say, oh, I don't want to hear, my family's mouth and things of that nature. But hey, listen, it's the new version of you. You've already set the tone. You've already given them requirements to pass the course. You've already given it to them. So if they do not study for the test, they will fail. Okay? You do not have to grade on a curve on this particular matter. You don't. You do not, okay? If don't nobody else give you permission to do it your way, I'm here. Boom. LaTanya says to do it your way. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever that looks like, create your own new traditions, and sooner or later, it's going to feel good. It's going to make sense. And you won't have to feel guilty about it. And also, ask yourself why you put up the boundary in the first place. I promise it was for a good reason. You want to feel loved. You want to feel supported. You want things to be genuine. You don't want to run in this space of constant unresolved and fakeness when it comes to the people that you decide to spend these holidays with or spend any amount of time with. You don't want that. Who wants that? Okay? So if the answer is Even for some people they're just starting their healing journey. So this is like, instead of a swim in the kiddie pool, this is like dive into the ocean, right? For them to set a boundary with their family around the holidays, because the holidays you kind of like, there's this force like, I gotta be around everybody because this is what we do. When families complain about, we only see each other at weddings or funerals, and in holidays or whatever the case may be. And me and my spiritual advisor are talking about, people are doing life at this time. Life gets in the way, people have lives, and things change. And sometimes that is the only time you can get together because you going through your life, especially if you got kids and your own family to raise, like, and you got ambitions and you got a career goal, and you're adulting, like, you got things to do. Okay, you do. But back to the people who feel like they should put up a boundary but are having a hard time putting up a boundary, especially around this time, right? Okay, maybe do baby steps. Maybe not stay there all night, right? Or if you do go, maybe find a polite way to assert your boundaries when it comes to certain conversations. Like, oh, I've been seeing a lot of people being upset and voicing their frustrations, especially with always being asked, when are you going to have kids? Assert a boundary there. Assert one. Show them the new you. If the new you or even the old you had a problem with that question, right? The new healed version or healing version of you should go ahead and set the boundary. Listen, when y'all ask me that, it frustrates me because I have goals. And how do you know if I even want a kid? Or how do you know I'm not having problems with having a child? Or if they're asking the question, when are you going to get married? When are you going to settle down? When the time is right for me. But be bold. Listen, if you're going to be bold and set that boundary, tell them don't ask you that when you come around, because that's my business, right? Let's talk about something else. Find if you don't like those questions, to take those baby steps and assert your boundaries when it comes to things of that nature, especially when you know good and well certain people, they just ask so they can compare and contrast and talk mess about you later, right? Which we've talked about on this show before. What people think of you is none of your business. It just isn't. Okay. And if you haven't gotten to that level yet, if you're still at the level of, really caring about what your family has to say about you, I understand it. We've all been there. You just have to, it's just more work you got to do on yourself, but you'll get there if that's what you want. Right. But you do need to start asserting your boundaries, talking things out. If you're going to go and say you and a particular family member haven't always seen eye to eye, why not strike up a private conversation and talk about, me and you have bumped heads and I don't quite know your story. Like, what is it? Is it that you don't like me? Why is it? Maybe that might be the time for, since you guys are going to be there, for you to like really be upfront and honest instead of coming to the event every year and pretending like things are okay when you don't like each other. Right? But do that if you're in a peaceful space, of course. Not if you ready to fight. Now that's not, things can escalate. But I feel like if you actually do want resolution and you're not going there to argue and you come in peace, that's all you can do. Why not strike up a conversation with that person that you always bump heads with? Why not? If you're going to show up there. Just saying. I mean, all of these tools, whether you decide to go or not go, right? The main goal is to create those that safety that you need in order to continue the relationship, the overall support system that you're trying to build for you. There needs to be repair. People need to do their part. You do your part, and either, hey, they're not going to change, so I'm going to protect myself. They're not going to change, but I'm okay with it. Or I want to address it and see if I go ahead, be real, be honest with them, and talk, right? Yes. When I know you're thinking, oh, the holidays are supposed to be happy, and I really don't want to be the one that sours everything, but I don't know if it's just my Pisces nature of being upfront and honest and dropping bombs and things of that. But I'm telling you, like, you never know unless you try. Okay, you never know unless you try, and I think grateful that you either did or that you. So, I believe, yep, this one is going to be a short one because I'm getting straight to the point with this one, this particular subject. I know there's probably things I'm leaving out. When it comes to this setting boundaries thing, but I think the main thing that I want to drive home is that it's okay to set them even around this time. It is okay. You will be fine. Yes, it may sting a little bit for some of us. It may, but if you did it for the right reasons, which I'm sure you did, there is nothing to feel guilty about. You did the right thing. So you can have overall happiness today if you decide to, right? For your holidays. You can. New year, new you, new crew. You can have all of that. I'm definitely going to go deeper into this topic and share some personal things on my Patreon. If you have not yet signed up for the Patreon, please feel free. Listen, you will not be disappointed with the unfiltered version of this podcast. And I thank you guys for listening either way, whether you follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, wherever. I'm happy that you are here. I really am, especially to my dedicated listeners. I really, really am. But for the stuff that is unfiltered and that you're ready to take a deeper dive into, get to know me, and to get to know me better, I would say on a deeper level, please feel free to subscribe to the Patreon. Now, let me address my foolishness, okay? And I gotta be accountable. I know I said the last episode that I'm going to upload something to YouTube, okay? The video version of the podcast from last 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks episode, the last episode of this podcast. But you guys, YouTube is a little overwhelming for me. It really, really is. Like social media, I really have to apologize for that. I need to stop lying to you guys, but I don't lie in the moment. In the moment when I tell you guys I'm going to upload something to YouTube, I really feel it at the time. And then when it's time to do it, I don't like the algorithm and the description and all of that. It's not as simple as it is for this podcast and for Patreon and for TikTok. It's just different, and it overwhelms me sometimes. So I apologize if you all were expecting to see that. It is uploaded, but it's not put on the channel itself yet. So I'm going to do my best. And yeah, whenever that happens, it's because I'm overwhelmed and I need to take a beat And you all know I'm all about transparency, so I don't have no problem admitting that that is what happens when I don't always follow through, because life doesn't stop for me. Although I'm a life coach and a therapist and I'm on here with this podcast, life does not stop for me. So sometimes I gotta take a step back. But listen, I always find my way back. I do. So you can count on that part. But anyways, I've hoped that you've enjoyed this episode of the Live and Be Great cast. Look out for the unfiltered version of this particular episode. It'll either come on or actually on or no, I think it's gonna come out after Christmas. I'm definitely going to let you all know how it went, what I did, and go into more depth as to why I made the decisions that I did make for this holiday season. Okay, so you don't want to miss that. And yeah, happy holidays, gentle holidays, safe holidays to you all. And I will talk to you soon. Bye. The Live and Be Great podcast will be airing every other Friday. If you have truly enjoyed this podcast, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving Live and Be Great a chance. Please feel free to share, like, give a review, subscribe on whichever platform that you're listening to right now, on iTunes or Apple Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, as well as Google Play. The Live and Be Great podcast is strictly crowdfunded, so if you are interested in becoming a supporter, you can click the link in the description, or you can go to liveandbegreat.com and scroll to the bottom and donate to the Live and Be Great podcast today, so I can continue to give you good and motivational content. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to give yourself permission to live and be great.